You know what's there? Waiting. Beyond that beach. Immortality! Take it! It's yours!
Welcome, everyone, Immortality Lab. I am Christian Martzrana. I'm here with my homie,
Brian Devonshire.
And we are going to talk to you about how to stay living at 100% until you're 100 years old. Today, we're talking about stress and the different types of it, distress and eustress. From my understanding, Brian, you've put a lot of time into researching this past week, and you have some good stuff to tell us.
Yeah. Well, actually, I didn't put any time into it this week, hardly. This is just notes I've taken throughout the years of listening to podcasts. And so all this information is based on interviews from this guy called Robert Sapolsky. So he's a neuroendocrinologist. Eliza Eppel, she's a PhD in psychiatry, and Rhonda Patrick. So she's like a nutrition PhD also. So there's a lot of disciplines involved in all of this information.
Sweet.
And all of the interviews, you can find them. There's a lot of overlap.
That's good. Overlap is good. That's more concrete proof.
Yeah, exactly. So they're all talking about the same thing, pretty much. And some people go into it more in depth in their field, but it's all the same information. Okay. So this image of this soldier kind of
I just bit my nail way too short and now my finger's bleeding.
Ugh. You gonna be all right?
Oh, I think I'll be okay. But yeah, I had to get that off my chest. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So if you start screaming, that's why.
That's why, yeah.
Okay. So this image of the soldier, it sets the tone of how stress deals, what it has effects on you. So the left image is the soldier before he got drafted. So I looked into this, and he's an art graduate, 31 years old. You know, he looks like a strapping young lad, no wrinkles.
Strapping young lad.
Strapping. So he's an art student. He graduated with honors. So like he's probably living a great life, no stress. And then he gets enlisted later that year, a couple months later. And in September, he was captured. So he was a prisoner of war for 2 years. So being tortured and, living a horrible life. And then he fucking escapes. And then he continues fighting the wars, and for another 2 years. And he gets like a Medal of Honor, or like the German Medal of Honor or whatever. But then you see the picture on the right, he's got wrinkles all over his face. He looks like a skeleton, like the things under his eyes. They're like,
yeah, dude, this is 4 years, man.
4 years.
So like, all right, this is almost this is a little bit more intense, honestly. But I'm sure you've seen the before and afters of like our presidents.
Oh yeah.
And how they age. This is similar, but this is a little bit more intense.
Right.
But
so this is like the extreme.
This is freaking crazy, man. Like, wow, you got to attach that image onto this when we post it.
I'll pop it up so everybody can see. But yeah, with Obama, I remember, he's a black guy, so black doesn't crack, right? So, but his hair turned white after 8 years. But this is, of course, a war zone. So he's a lot more stressful, under a lot more stress right now. So this
in World War II too, man. Shit.
Yeah. And so this is the issue with chronic stress. So I doubt he had any moment where he was like, oh, finally I can relax.
Right.
So that's when we were getting into our last podcast. At the end, we mentioned eustress and distress.
Mm-hmm.
So eustress is the beneficial type, for those who don't know, and distress is the damaging one. So this guy definitely had a lot of distress. His lifespan, I'm sure, was shortened drastically after all of this. And so you can think of it like a U-shaped curve. So like too little is not good and too much is not good, but there you want to find a good middle ground. And so we did mention like jumping into an ice cold lake and then getting out is a type of eustress. But then the opposite would be staying in that lake for days. It's probably not a good thing.
You think immediately getting into the water would be stressful?
Yeah, like or maybe within a couple of minutes.
I think right away it'd be distressful, and then once you could cope with the cold water, it'd be stressful. Which
Yeah,
is why doing cold baths and taking cold showers leads to better stress relief and dealing with stress. But you have to be able to do it for a long amount of time where you can be comfortable in it. But if you just jump into cold water and jump right back out, that's not doing anything. If anything, that's going to keep you in more of a distress state.
hmm. Yeah. So I think you're right. Like if you jump in, your body's going to go into a distress mode.
Yeah, like a panic. It's like, whoa, whoa.
Right. Yeah. Just like the fight or flight, like the same thing's happening. Like cortisol is being released and your adrenaline is pumping most likely. Um, but it's just like insulin resistance with diabetes. Like you need insulin in the short term. Like you eat a burger and you need insulin right away.
Right,
So
right.
that's like an analogy of the distress immediately of jumping into a lake. But if you have insulin all the time, you build up a resistance to it. So let's see here. So
Right.
I wrote down it's kind of like inflammation. So yeah, you need the immediate inflammation response to fight infections and do the wound healing and stuff, just like insulin works right away. But then if you have way too much of it, let's see. So your body will actually downregulate the receptors that respond to cortisol. So you become resistant to it. And just like insulin, uh, if the stress response is not working properly, it regulates a lot of things involving your brain and other hormones along in your body. So if that system is screwed up and it's you're resistant to cortisone or cortisol, like it's not a good thing.
Right.
So
right,
one of the things it leads to is the inflammation response is unregulated. So I don't know it too deep, but you need the receptors for the cortisol to work properly, and it's like a negative feedback. So you can have a lot of stress in the moment, but then it's going to tell the body to stop it. Like
Correct.
so if that doesn't work, it's just gonna there's no brakes. There's no brakes on the system.
Right. And what I think the breaks are, or the telling tale of if you're in a state of distress or eustress for too long or not, is going back to what we were talking about last week, which is breathing. If you're able to, so like just say you jumped into a really cold body of water, at first, unless you're trained well, there is no way your breathing's just going to be totally normal. There's no way. You're going to be in like a hyperventilative kind of mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you sit in there long enough and you get used to it, then your body starts adapting to that temperature, you start moving around, then your breathing becomes normal and normal and normal and normal. So there's that fine line of we have to sit in there for long enough, but not too long. Because at a certain point of sitting in using the cold body of water for too long, that is going to harm your central nervous system.
Yes.
So it's finding that fine line of that. And I feel like your breathing would be a very good way of still being a determiner. Because if you got to just say all right, at the short end, you're in panicky breathing mode, and then you're in the water when you're used to it and you're cool. Then when you're getting to the end range, you're probably going to start breathing harder. Your breathing's going to change. Your heart rate's going to change. And so then that would be a key for you to get out. And
yeah. So in a normal person, you would probably adapt to it and your breathing would change. But like with the cortisol receptor, if you're resistant to it, that probably wouldn't happen, or it wouldn't happen as quickly. So like pathogens is one example, or psychological stress, or being in a cold lake. If you're resistant to it, I imagine like your breathing you would hyperventilate longer than a normal person. Like you wouldn't adapt as quick.
So what's the main key to becoming cortisol resistant?
Yeah, being under stress all the time.
Yeah.
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 So that it's just like insulin.
Under distress.
Yes. So that's we can just call that like chronic stress, like long-term stress. So,
is what you would consider distress?
Yeah. So, but you said like distress is you jump into a lake and it is a stress response, but then at some point you move over the hump of the U into the damaging area, right?
Right.
So that's the distinction, I think.
And you can use that same analogy with eustress as well, but I would probably consider it an inverse U. But it's the same exact thing. Like for me specifically, I use working out as a eustressful situation. Like I'm doing it, and of course, it is a stressful situation on my tendons, my ligaments, my muscles, my cardiovascular system, my central nerve, and the whole fucking nine. When you're working out, you're going to town, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's stressful on your body, but it's good stress. But if I were to work out, I mean, you know how I used to work out. If I worked out like that now, that would turn into a distressful situation, right, which would then turn into injuries and pains and, shit.
Yeah. And I guess the opposite would be someone who doesn't work out. I think the last time I worked out with you at the YMKA, remember that?
Yeah.
I went from maybe a couple of months not working out to, doing your crazy workout.
Oh shit. You should have told me that.
No, dude, I was like hyped. I just wanted to do it. Yeah. And then, I powered through it. And then I was slow. I could barely do one rep at the end of it. And then I was just destroyed after that.
Dude, I remember Croswell did a bicep workout with me one time, man. One time, never again, dude. He was like, dude, I'm pretty sure I can't move my arms ever again. Yeah. And I was like, dude, you'll be fine, dude. We did preacher curls,
Yeah.
Dude, doing preacher curls, if you haven't done them for a while, like, ooh, baby.
Yeah, so that definitely highlights the U-shapedness. So you want to work out sometimes, not too hard, but you also don't want to just not work out all the time.
Right.
And
that goes with so many things in life. It's finding the balance. Yeah.
That's the hard part, is like, where is it? For me, where's the top of the U?
And experience will give you that,
right.
But intentional experience, because a lot of people will say like, oh, practice makes perfect. Nope. Bullshit. Perfect practice makes perfect. So if you're going into a situation knowing about this U shape, right? And so just say you're going into your workout, knowing that there's a time of peak and a time of downfall and leveling out, etc. Knowing that as you're working out, now try to feel it within yourself. Mm-hmm. And try to do that each and every single time you work out. So then when you're going along that U shape, you know where along that path you are every time. Yeah. And just working out as an example. Now use eating as an example.
I was just going to say that.
Use communication with your girlfriend or whatever. It doesn't matter what facet of life, but there's always going to be that U shape, that too little, perfect amount, too much. Mm-hmm. Or the opposite, Yeah,
so being self-aware, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so eating is a perfect example. So you can stuff your face and you went way past the top of the U, but the signal isn't there yet, right?
Correct.
So you just got to be aware of other things that tell you where you are on the shape, on the U.
Right.
So yeah, I agree completely.
Do you ever know fucking Star Wars spelled backwards is Ratsra?
Or like race car backwards is race car?
That's right. No, dude, the best, what are those called?
They're palindromes.
Go hang a salami, I'm a lasagna hog.
That's a palindrome?
Yeah, dude, I'll type it in the chat right now. I'll type it in the chat. You can read it, dude. Hold on.
Why do you know that?
Dude, from middle school, remember our cartooning class? You and I were in the same cartooning.
Oh, yeah.
Remember
dude, that class was awesome.
Remember that kid? I think his name was Andrew. and he sat at our table, and he was such a nerd, man.
No.
He would always talk about RuneScape, dude. But
No.
yeah,
I only
yeah,
remember
he
the eighth
told me
grader that was there who the rumor was going around. She had a condom in her back pocket all the time.
Uh,
I was like, oh, that was scandalous, back then.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Okay. So while you're doing that, I was just going to say, if you have the resistance to the cortisol, that eventually leads to arthritis, pain. You'll get autoimmune system problems, bone degradation, depression, memory problems. Like, it's just not good. You got to have the breaks. You got to have your body working.
You have to.
Your body needs to work.
Are you familiar with muscle spindles and Golgi tendon organ?
Muscle spindles and what?
Golgi tendon organ, GTO.
Oh, I've heard the name, but that's
So
about it.
basically, the muscle spindles are your body's ability to contract, in layman terms, and then your Golgi tendon organ is your body's way to relax. So just say you're doing a set of bicep curls, and then eventually it's just like, nope, too much. And I'm sure you felt this before, where your body just goes bleh, and it's just like, give up. That's your Golgi tendon organ coming into play. It's just like, enough is enough.
So like when you get a cramp in your calf, that's the opposite. Like your muscles just like tighten up.
Cramps are muscle confusion. Man. Oh, I could talk
It's too
about that.
complicated. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not. I'll talk about it really quickly. So,
Okay.
all right, our human beings are really good at going from point A to point B, right? No matter what, you do it. No matter what. If you have one leg, if you have one arm, if you have half a body, it doesn't matter. If you need to get to point B, you will get there. You'll figure it out. Our bodies are the kings and queens of compensation. It's ridiculous.
Homeostasis.
Yeah, exactly. So if you are starting out at point A and then you're heading toward point B, and let's say you are, okay, like I said, injured. You have an injury in your left leg, and you, no matter what, are going to walk up those stairs. So then you're putting so much stress on the right side of your body now for overdoing it. Okay. So now, by doing that, you're creating more problems for yourself than you already even had in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing something incorrectly over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're causing such distress to your body in an asymmetrical way that's just gonna kill you, man. It's horrible.
Yeah. So okay, so with the muscle cramps and the relaxing, how's that tie in?
Okay. Right. Sorry. I had a beer. I'm sorry. So with the muscle cramps, I'm sorry. So you're going from point A to point B, right?
Yeah.
And all right, just say, I'll use a specific example of an exercise, a bridge. So when you're doing a bridge, you're lying down on your back and you're bridging up your hips. So that requires hip extension. The muscles that do hip extension are hamstrings and glutes. So no matter what, your body's going to get to that hip extended position. If you don't have strong enough glutes, then your hamstrings are going to take over more than the glutes, and they're going to cramp. That's what cramping is. It's because something else isn't doing its job.
Okay. Huh. But wouldn't you say that the Golgi thing is kind of turned off? If it's cramped up, it doesn't work right. It can't relax.
The Golgi tendon organ, if the Golgi tendon organ is on, you are not cramping.
Okay, so there is probably like a an interplay with muscle cramping, and if that's not working, you would be more likely to cramp up something, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
I would say yes. But so, and then the next thing is, if you are trained enough, you can train your body to not turn on your Golgi tendon organ. Which, truthfully, you and I probably are trained at that point.
Okay. Like how monks can train their heartbeat to change it to whatever they want it to be whenever they want.
I was gonna use monks as an example with stress and distress, eustress and distress earlier.
Okay.
The cold water situation, like a lot of those monks, I don't know if you've seen them, they're put into like these crazy split positions
Yeah.
on trees and stuff, and they have to hold it for like 14 hours as little kids, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like that must be so distressful, so distressful.
Yeah.
But they do it for so long that eventually their body's just like, okay, this is life. Right. And then it actually becomes eustressful for them,
Mm-hmm.
which that's interesting, right? The transition from distress to eustress.
Yeah, so their whole U-shaped curve just moved to the right by a lot.
Totally. No, it inversed.
Oh yeah, and that. So it's just like
exactly. It shifted and
it's
inversed.
way the hell over here. Now it's like, hey, this is great for me. I should just do splits on trees all day.
All day.
I feel bad if I don't do that.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. I kind of went on a tangent there. I apologize, folks.
It was good. It was good. So here's how stress is killing you slowly. So all of the different things. So cognitive, your genetics, your sleep, blood pressure, obesity, pain, all of those things, man. So let's get into it. So the cognitive, let's see. So again, with the U-shaped stuff. So some stress is good for memory and blood flow, but too much of it, the hippocampus will age. So that's the part where the memory is stored, like long term.
Right.
So that just gets destroyed slowly. So, and another interesting point I wanted to talk about was under stress, the hippocampus takes over. So you have less decision making with the frontal cortex. So normally that's how you interact with people, right? You want to like balance the socialness of different people, and you use your frontal cortex. So under stress, you don't use that as much. So, you're less of a person, basically.
For sure.
Less planning, less empathy. The hippocampus doesn't talk with the amygdala as much. So the amygdala deals with emotions. So all of those things sound like you don't want that.
Right. And so what I love about what you're talking about right now is all the internal stuff that we don't see. And, like not a lot of people, every single person loves instant gratification, every single person. Mm-hmm. And so this is kind of the opposite of instant gratification. And so when you're talking about this internal stuff, most people will never know that. Most people don't do this kind of research or anything. But I know, like, the day I got my driver's license, I totaled my car, and it was such a distressful situation for me. I grew a white patch of hair on my head, dude, when I was 16 years old. And so it was instant. I could physically see it, right?
Yeah.
And so after that stress went away, it gone, whatever. I don't have that white patch of hair anymore. But what I'm saying is, like, stress is so powerful that you can see it so quickly, physically see it, and the scientific things that you're explaining right now are very, very intense. Like, if you don't know how much the hippocampus does for you and the amygdala, and you're not worried about what you're saying right now, you're fucking crazy.
Right.
Because like that shit's nuts, dude.
And you won't see this happen right away, really. So you won't, it doesn't,
of course
it's in the
not.
back of your mind, so it doesn't bother you. But right. I guess one thing that does happen, you can see immediately, is like cramming for a test. It's one thing that you just like only learned the material on the last day, but you're also stressed out, and then you don't sleep, and it screws with your memory. So maybe that is one thing that immediately affects you. But I mean, sure. I also know plenty of people who cram and they make it by just fine. So again, it doesn't matter.
Right. I know. It's weird, right? That's the beauty about being a human, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All of us are very different. So again, this leads into the genetics part of it perfectly. So, another similarity with diabetes. So if you're insulin resistant when you're pregnant, your kid's going to be more likely to be diabetic. And same thing with stress. So you have a bunch of these hormones floating around in the body. And the child's in the womb, the child is exposed to these chemicals, and it changes their genetics so that the child can, respond to the hormones that are there. And it makes their amygdala enlarged. So, it deals with emotions, and they're on alert all the time. So I know this firsthand. I know this firsthand.
It's anxiety, man,
Yeah, anxiety passes down for sure.
Yeah.
It's like if you look at someone who is stressed out, and their mom is probably stressed out, and her mom was probably stressed out all the time.
Oh man, dude, like I train a few people, and like someone that I'll think of right now, they're such a hypochondriac, and their kid is just like them, man, and it's
Exactly. Yeah. So
I mean, I'm just like my parents, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, if you don't want to pass it on to your child, try to not be stressed out, at least when you're pregnant.
You're gonna pass on to your child whatever you are.
Yeah. Yes. So you probably have been stressed out for the last 20 years before you got pregnant too. But
if you're passing on that chronic stress.
Yes, but also the child is just, they're more sensitive to it when they're in the womb. So what's going on, like you can be a drinker before you're pregnant and it doesn't affect the child. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that. It's just more damaging right then. So another thing, if you're feeling burnout at your job, I know a lot of you are, like you hate your job. You're sitting at this desk all day. You don't want to be there. That's burnout. You hate your job. You hate your boss. You don't want to go there. That's killing you. That is killing you.
Literally.
Yes, and it's associated with shorter telomeres. So that's like at the very end of your chromosome. So every time you replicate, it cuts off a little bit of the telomeres. It's like a safety net. So eventually you run out, and now you can't replicate anymore. So you die. So chronic daily stress from work burnout is associated with shorter telomeres. So find a new job.
Yeah, fucking do what you love.
Yes.
And I gotta say, like, hats off to our generation for doing what we love. I noticed that there are a lot of more people around our age that are getting paid to do what they enjoy to do versus you better fucking get your pickaxe and fucking farm on the fucking railroad. It's like, sorry, I can't farm on a railroad. That doesn't make sense. Well, you make it happen if you work hard enough. And it's like, we could just work a little smarter,
Yeah. I hate the argument people say.
We're getting there, man.
Like boomers.
You work on the railroad.
Get a job, you fucking kid.
Yeah, dude.
But the boomer generation definitely doesn't really understand that it's like you can make so much. There's so many ways to make money now with the internet. Like you don't need to get a job. Yes, like your bathwater and use socks.
But dude, I do miss the hard work ethic from that traditional era, man.
Right.
I do miss that.
Yeah.
And that's the era that I was raised from. So like that's in my heart for sure. But
you just have to apply it to the new technology of the day, right?
Oh, I mean, I do and you do, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah. Like what's TikTok? These damn kids and their internet machines.
Dude, I downloaded TikTok yesterday. And I was like fucking around on it, and I was like, within 2 minutes, I was like, erase, dude. I hate it. I hate it.
It's mostly just like girls dancing around with their tits out is what I experienced.
Stupid. And there was no like searching. It was just like, here you go, like scroll. I'm like, I don't want to. Well, what's going on here, dude? This is strange. I honestly downloaded it because I wanted to edit a video. Whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Our age is showing. We don't like TikTok.
Yeah, right.
So again, with the telomeres, it's also associated with getting more cardiovascular disease, dementia, and cancer. So you gotta avoid this stuff, man, and especially because it fucks with your sleep.
Which we will be talking about next week.
Okay, more in depth, but I'll get into it right now, how cortisol screws it up. So I'm sure you've noticed if you went to bed drunk. Like you probably don't dream anything, or like you wake up, you feel like you teleported through time,
Right, right,
and I mean, you probably don't feel restful at all, and
right.
that's because it fragments your sleep. So you're supposed to have cycles, of course, and then with this ring, actually, the Aura ring, this tracks my sleep. And for me, I noticed I have a lot of deep sleep first, and then towards the end of the night, I have a lot of REM sleep. And then when I drink, all that's just like screwed up and
Fucked
jumbled.
up.
It's just
Yeah.
it's so messed
Probably
up.
almost no REM.
Yeah, it's all of the numbers are just screwed.
I'm so excited to go into sleep next week so that we can get into REM and everything. That's so
Uh-huh.
fucking cool. That's
So
awesome.
when you have more cortisol, so being stressed out constantly, you have less restorative sleep. So it's acting just like alcohol.
Sure. Okay.
So don't be stressed out at night, I guess, would be the best way to attack it, or just don't be stressed out in general. That would be the better way.
That's a really good point. That's a really, really good point. And both of those are good points. Don't be stressed out at night or don't be stressed out in general.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, don't be stressed out in general is much harder than don't be stressed out at night. But if you're going to choose one and you're stressed out all the time, I would start with don't be stressed out at night and just start there, and start with some kind of meditative practice, or like there's so many guided meditations on YouTube that will just work really well.
Yeah.
Or even getting through a 5 to 10 minute stretch routine right before bed will drastically improve your sleep as well as how you feel in the morning. You won't feel nearly as stiff.
Yeah, that's a good point. That decreases stress, and also you want to avoid things that cause stress. So like checking your email or getting on the internet.
Yeah, get rid of your phone. Throw it through your fucking wall.
You want that shit to be gone like 3 hours before you go to bed or something like that.
Yep.
And of course, so now we go to blood pressure, obesity, and cardiovascular. So this is all just one topic right here. So they study these people with Cushing syndrome. So they genetically, I think it's a genetic problem. They have an overactive adrenal gland, so they pump out cortisol constantly. So these people are like super good for studies because you can't just like subject that to someone because of ethics and stuff. But these people have no choice. So we study them, and it basically all of them have high blood pressure, obesity, and they have high blood lipids like HDL. All of those numbers are all screwed up. And it's associated with sodium and water retention, and it inhibits nitric oxide, which is the vasodilating thing that's great for exercise and a number of other things. And another thing they found, like if they get rid of the disease, insulin resistance persists for 5 years later, which I thought was crazy.
Yeah, that is.
And a perfect example, I wrote down, have you ever watched InfoWars?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
The crazy guy who his show is all about like conspiracy theories and stuff. He's like a play actor.
Let me pull up a quick.
Yeah, that's his thing. So he is on purpose overreacting to things, and he's.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah, so that's his thing, and he just yells all the time. And now, after doing his show for years, I'm sure he actually is stressed out constantly.
Totally like Rob Frank. You know that dude that's always like, oh, he's all fucking jacked all the time, always yelling. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
All right, dude. I'm gonna find a video, and then I'll share the screen, man. Not Robert Frank. Hold on. You keep going on, and I'll find it, dude.
Yeah. So for everyone at home, just look at this InfoWars guy. You'll get the idea. And he has a classic red face and a huge neck. I don't know why. I feel like that's common with people who are stressed out and yelling all the time. And it's most likely related to the high blood pressure. Their face is flushed because they have higher heart rate and blood pressure. and all of those other things. Like you look at the guy, he is overweight. So he's kind of like a Cushing disease person. And I bet if I got blood labs on him, like his lipids would be all screwed up. He's probably insulin resistant too, just from yelling on a TV show.
Oh, I'm sure, man. And like, I mean, I was just looking at his picture as well, and I mean, I know you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but like, he looks unhealthy. He's sweating a lot. He's really red. He's like, he doesn't look like a healthy person, and he looks very stressed. He looks very, very stressed.
That's it.
So like, yeah, dude, I totally agree, man. I want you to find this dude. Okay, I found a video of this. I don't know if I can share. Hold on. You'll have to allow me to share my screen.
Okay. I don't know how to do that, but here,
No,
show me the YouTube link and I'll look it up and I'll just share my screen.
Cool. Oh.
I guess we'll just cut this dead time out.
That's part of the shit, you know? We can just dance around. That's my dance, dude. That was my dance.
Okay. What's this video?
Refill up on beer too. I could go get another beer.
Okay. Tell me what the video is first. Let me look it up.
I put it on the chat right there.
Oh shit. Let me see. Oh fuck. I'm right there. Blind.
Be right back, dude. You share it with the world. Share it with the world.
Okay.
I don't even know which one it is, but every single one of his are so intense.
Okay. Let's check this out, folks. Okay, here we go. Make the gym great again.
Does it really fucking matter? I'm still gonna get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to do my fasted cardio. I'm still gonna eat my 6 to 7 meals a day. Monday is still going to be International Chest Day. So really, does it matter? And all I hear about is build a wall. We're gonna build a wall. Well, how about building a fucking gym where the dumbbells go up to 400 pounds and the lat pull down sack doesn't stop at 280? And fuck your little juice bar. How about building a full-fledged food court so I can get a triple-oni sandwich post-workout? 50 grams of protein, get your chocolate and vanilla smoothies. Fuck that! I want a triple-oni and cheese on whey with a little bit of fucking mustard so I can make some gains. Let's make the gym great again. Scratch that. The gym has always been great. Let's make it greater.
Holy shit. And then look at his outro video. He's like all calm with his girlfriend. They're just like, oh, okay, there we go. Wow.
All right, dude.
That was great.
Watch more of that dude's videos, man. He has that much energy and that much intensity with every single video, even if he's talking about like Pokemon, man. And it's crazy. And so that's exactly what you're talking about. Like, imagine that guy.
Yeah. Yep.
He's beyond. He's beyond. Oh my gosh.
And so for him, like probably the littlest thing would set him off now. Like when you look at someone who is tempered, like Gandhi or whatever, nothing probably makes him angry because he's, you know,
You like shoot him in the arm, dude.
He's like, so it's all fine. You know,
he's like, it's okay. I'll go to the doctor and I'll take the. Like,
I don't know what Gandhi would say, but yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious at the end of his video, like his outro. He's like, "Oh, be sure to like this video, guys." And he's all nice. He completely changed.
I know.
But then at the very end, he was like, "And fuck Twitter."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, okay, there it is."
It's so funny, dude.
Oh, yeah. So him and the InfoWars guy should make a podcast, I think.
That'd be great. I think Robert Frank would fucking like just overpower him, dude. Completely.
It would. The whole episode would just be him and giving him a headlock for like an hour.
Yeah. Exactly, dude.
Okay.
Did you see in the chat the palindrome I wrote?
I did. I just saw that. Wow. Who comes up with that stuff?
I don't know, dude.
Anyway, so the last thing, so we just went over blood pressure and the InfoWars guy. And it seems like it's a positive feedback cycle. So if you're stressed out all the time, you're just going to be more likely to be stressed out, right?
Right.
And so another thing that you deal with a lot is pain with your patients, your clients. So chronic cortisol, it actually increases the nociceptors in your body. So the littlest thing would be painful, and so that plays into the arthritis thing. Your joints are just constantly in pain because of this tiny little amount of inflammation in there, destroying everything.
Totally.
Yeah, and I see that in real life with obese people. They are in pain, their joints hurt, but there's a lot of reasons for that. But this is one of them.
Dude. Yeah, and like you said, the hypersensitivity too, man. Like any bit of change to that area, and they're just like, pain, and that sucks. That sucks, man. And I'm gonna bring it back to breathing, man. Like if you do proper breathing practices, you can overcome those things. You definitely can. And breathing is the basis of our existence, So probably everything in our podcast will always be related.
Circle back to breathing.
It really will, dude. It really will in some way, shape, or form, man. Because I know when I'm stressed out, when I'm distressed out, and I'm like, okay, I realize it, and I know that I need to change that, and I know that I need to get back to a homeostatic state of mind, I guess. Yes. Typically, I literally just breathe. I close my eyes and take 5 deep breaths, and it's like goose fraba,
Goose fraba. Oh, yeah, it's anger management, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I mentioned in how to deal with it. So this is how you fix it. So we've talked about avoiding emails already and breathing. But breathing, I would say, is kind of like a little meditation. If you're going to breathe, at least try to do meditation. So that's kind of like just the absence of thought. That's the exercise.
The absence of present thought, of things around you. But I think it's the absolute inclusion of certain thought.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess it's the way I perceive it.
Yeah, people meditate differently, and I was just basing this off of this guy right here, Naval Ravikant, and I mean he has his own podcast. It's one of the episodes, the pilot episode, I think. It's like an hour and a half, and that's like the only one I've listened to probably more than 3 times. Like it's that good. And that's how he mentions how he meditates is just recognizing when a thought arises, it comes out of the ether. You're like, oh, okay. And then you try to, get back down to nothing again.
I agree with that. So I like using my phone as an analogy when I try to explain to people. So, when you double tap your home screen, it shows you the different pages that you have up and shit. Yeah. And so if I start swiping up, it erases the pages.
Yeah.
And then eventually it's nothing, right?
That's it.
But when it's that nothingness, that's when you're meditating. So you can view each one of those pages as a thought.
Right.
So I can see that. I can see that point of view using my analogy as well.
That's a good one.
But I do think what it is for me, it's clearing the thoughts that don't need to be there and showing me the thought that does. Mm-hmm. But I do still think you're still me anyways. I'm still thinking. I don't know.
Yeah, for me too. It's hard to. I'm always thinking. I'm
always
introverted, and so I'm just constantly in my mind. But trying this, I am able to get actual silence for a few seconds, but then I'm I'm in my head again. I'm like, oh shit, it's quiet again. And then I think, in my internal monologue,
about it being quiet.
Yeah, I'm like, oh hey. Yeah. So I have a lot of work to do.
But the thing is, so you're already ahead of most people though, because I can't say most people. You're ahead of people that who haven't done meditation.
Right. They
Because
haven't even tried it.
You have felt the nothingness.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what it feels like. Where if you didn't know what it feels like, you don't necessarily know where you're heading toward. But now you know what it feels like. You know what path you took to get there. So next time you can kind of direct yourself to that same way.
Yeah.
As opposed to just like shot in the dark, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Perfect practice, dude.
Exactly.
So here's another thing. So they say to do the meditation 10 minutes a day rather than an hour a week.
I dig that.
Because he said it's like you're sitting in the afterglow of the meditation more often that way. So another analogy is if you checked your email every 15 minutes, like you're stressed out every 15 minutes rather than just doing it at the end of the week. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally, man. Like whenever I clean my dishes, I do it as I go. I don't let my dishes pile up. So I don't really ever have dishes.
Yeah, that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own. You know, some people mind it, some people don't. I fucking hate.
Yeah, it's in your mind. Like there's a pile of dishes there, and
yeah, I hate it. I hate it. Exactly. It causes me distress. It's not cool.
So, and another point Naval brings up is, like, he's just a cool dude. So I'm gonna trust everything he says. And over the years, he's learned a skill to be happy, and it's just learn to be grateful and see the positives in everything.
Everything. I agree to that.
And I mean, I am a pessimist. I know you don't like them, but at least I know that's a problem, and I do try to see the positives and everything. And like he said, it's a skill you learn over decades, and eventually it just becomes the normal, you know?
I think it's a skill you learn if you try to learn it. Truthfully, like my brother and I were just raised that way, man.
Yeah.
And so we don't try to practice it. We just practice it by living, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but for someone like me, where I'm born a pessimist.
Right, exactly. But there's pros and cons to fucking both, of course. There always is. And like it's because I'm always so optimistic, I don't know how to teach someone how to be.
Yeah.
Like just fucking do it.
Yeah, what's wrong,
man? Yeah, like what are you talking about, you know? And like I can definitely point out examples like, oh, I can show you how much worse it could be, how much, like, because that's often how I view, like, stay happy is I'm like, dude, it could be so much worse. Like anytime I'm in a negative situation, I'm just okay, what negative situation am I in? One of the worst negative situations I've ever been is when I got my super extreme DUI and I went to jail, you know? That sucked. That fucking sucked. And guess what happened while I was in jail? I was fed. I was given gym equipment. I was given books. I was given people to talk to. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
It could be so much worse.
It could be so much worse, bro.
And for that one, you could be especially dead.
Absolutely. And I'm talking about jail where, don't get me wrong, I will never, ever go back. I will never go back. But it wasn't as bad as it could be, man. It wasn't as bad as fucking 50% of the world is dealing with right now.
Yeah.
You know, and like that's what keeps me going. And also what helps is that I do have parents from, like, my mom was born in Venezuela, and I don't know if you know what's going on in Venezuela or not, but like she came from there and now she's in America. So anytime she's having a hard time, I'm like, man, remember back there, you know? So it's,
you could be there now where it's worse even.
Exactly. And so things like that help me like get through those types of things for sure. But
it's good that you recognize that you're not just ignoring the what it could be, how worse it could be, because you mentioned like there's good and bad to being pessimist and optimist, but you need to recognize the other side too. you can't just be blindly optimistic, because you'll let yourself down, or you'll miss opportunities, I guess. Like you're robbing yourself of this self-awareness, I guess.
Totally. Dude, I want to share a video with you, man. And then you can pull it up too. Let me find it right now.
Cool. And I'll just go over these last bits and how to deal with it. So 10 minutes a day of vigorous walking. That's really all you need. It all adds up, even the 10 minutes meditating. And for the food situation, you want to just avoid things that cause inflammation. So sugar, processed sugar, omega-6. So you want the omega-3 more than you do want the 6. And processed meats, I guess probably anything that's heavily processed, it's going to cause some form of inflammation. So just do like whole foods generally to make it simple,
Always.
And if you can grow it in your backyard, that's probably the best thing. That's all I got, man. It's over.
Sweet, dude. Check out that video I just posted right there.
All right. Am I sharing it for everyone?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Third world country problems. No. Third world country people reading off first world country problems. Puts things into perspective, man. Like this is the shit. This is straight up the shit that some of us are distressing about. I personally don't, because I'm aware, but like, fuck, man. And I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some first world things that I still distress about. Like, oh shit, my fucking car tire's flat. Like, oh, you have a car, bro, with gasoline in it? Like, are you kidding me?
Here, can you see that?
Yeah, I can.
I hate when my phone charger won't reach my bed. I hate when my leather seats aren't heated.
When I go to the bathroom and I forget my phone.
Le mette radio dans machine à laver, yo commence à sentir.
I hate it when my house is so big. I need 2 wireless washers.
When my maid gun makes my hot water taste too cold.
When I have to write my maid a check, but I forget her last name.
M'pa ka écrit message devant marcher en même temps.
Moi te quitté casse moi en bas.
Moi raï les voisins bloqué internet là.
I hate it when I tell them no pickles and they still give me pickles.
Dude, that's so ridiculous.
It's fucking ridiculous, and like, I know I'm laughing, but like, I'm laughing because of the absurdity.
Right. And people, they have the, I guess,
They
audacity to
freak out over this shit. I hate that my house is too big and I have to have 2 routers. Then get a fucking smaller house, bitch.
Yeah, for real.
Like, if you straight up hate that your house is that big, don't live in that big of a house, or fucking give it away.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah, there is this punk song. I can't remember who was singing it, but they're saying, if money is such a problem from all these rich people, let's take it from them.
I think you just froze on me, dude. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Oh, you can
no.
hear me. Oh, shit.
Okay.
I didn't know what was going on, dude. I started undressing.
I need 2 Wi-Fi routers, obviously.
Yeah. Oh my god, dude. Hold on. Here's some internet cable. We can do something with this, right?
Shit.
Holy fuck, man.
Let's just end it now. End the podcast. So everybody, if you like this, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe to whatever podcast station you're listening to. If you want more and you want to learn how to live forever, do it, man. Do it.
And if you feel that you can bring something to the table too, you feel that you have some kind of idea or theory that other people may not, or just something that's overlooked or whatever, and you want to let people know about it, come on down and let's talk.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
We can interview, or we can just have a dive deep episode on the topic.
Yeah.
So email us the
Like those
questions.
the old school fucking deep sea divers with the metal.
Yeah, the marinade.
Like, dude, how scary? Like BioShock, you know that game?
Oh, dude.
How scary would that be? Like, straight up, people did that job. You know?
Oh,
that was their job. Put on your fucking metal suit and
yeah. And then they didn't
down.
understand how to get out of the water properly, so they died of the bends.
Right.
Like, so their muscles were just like.
Because what does that do? It increases the CO2, is it, or the nitrogen?
It's the nitrogen.
Nitrogen, and then you fucking explode.
It's It's
fucking
awful.
explode, dude. Yeah,
your blood is boiling.
Yeah, I saw one of those 1,000 Ways to Die episodes. There's like 3 of them in Tucson, by the way. But there was one where someone was like in a decompression chamber, so they wouldn't get the bends, right? And some fucking asshole was like, "Who ordered pizza?" and opened the fucking door, and the fucking person blew up, dude.
What the fuck?
I know. It wasn't actually a pizza delivery guy, but it was some absent-minded fuck that didn't realize that.
Let me open this
in there.
ridiculous hatch to get a pizza in there.
Yeah, dude, who's in here? They're like, stop! On the other side, please stop! He's like, hey, bro! Whoa!
And then does he like explode in the chamber?
Flurpy, dude. He becomes a fucking flurpy. And diarrhea's out of his whole body.
He's like, do I get a tip, or
do you get a tip?
No, the pizza guy is like, are you gonna tip me, or
his wallet's on the fucking mush. He's like, I'm just gonna take that thing right there.
Okay.
Fucking A, man. Fucking A.
I'm gonna stop.
All right, so
now.
next week we're gonna talk about sleep.
That's it.
Immortality! Take it! It's yours!